gonna jump back into it because I can. Because damn it, dude, this is like fucking frustrating, man. Swear to God, YouTube and Firefox are not getting along. I think I remember doing this crap, and I actually set it up so that I had to do it in Chrome. I hate using Chrome. Remember when Chrome used to be the shit? It was like Firefox, then Chrome. But it's back to Firefox again because, and now it might be Chrome. I think they're neck and neck because I didn't notice how much of a resource hog Chrome is getting. And I know that like computers have gotten a little bit more like badass, but it's like stupid that you got to do that. But hi, I'm back. Hey, we're live. We're happening. I don't have to deal with this mess no more. And that's the whole import of the thing. $5,000, just fucking ridiculous, man. Just paying for that shit. I hate the government and people, and Mark should be here to hear this. Oh yeah. Anyway, hey, what's up? So I wanted to do the show because I wanted to do the show in Mark's case and stuff because new plane. Check it out, new plane. Showed this off to them. Wanted to show this off because if you're into planes and you like new stuff, this is ND 24-3 and rolled out September 4th, and you may note that it looks a lot like the coyote right there, not the vampire. That's a vampire. Looking pretty hot. Pretty good looking vampire too. Different. A lot of vampires get to use a lot of different things. I'm going to put it over here right now because we're going to concentrate on the good stuff here, which is the new bird. And the show, it's going to be paper airplane because talk about that because this plane rocks. And this plane is a duplicate. And Mark will love this. And I got to show him the show. Hoping he'd be on. He can't be on yet because he's living out of a shack, a mobile shack. And can't get anything done because he's in a mobile shack. And I understand. Get in a mobile shack, can't get anything done. So here we are. But we're doing a show because, ta-da. So this here is a coyote, which was a Diamond up until 2 years ago. Now it's a coyote. And remember I said, like, I don't like naming planes after things that, like, why is my refresh rate on this damn thing so low? I'm going to check this camera out. Anywho, yeah, I think it's the refresh rate on this damn thing, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I got it matching the output. Because y'all see that, right? You probably shouldn't see that. I'm going to try to fix that. Because it shouldn't be fluctuating like that. Looking better than it's streaking. See, that's supposed to be high def. Y'all see? I don't know. Anyway, looks high def to me. You guys look like it's so high def, it's like sparkly and shit. Anyway, so, yeah. So what we're doing here is... This show is basically dedicated to Marks, and like, this is for all y'all that have this instance, because like, we always like to talk about making a plane that looks like somebody else's plane, okay? And whether or not, like, what makes the plane the same plane? Like, when you build something, you build it, and you're, obviously, he stands for, your intentions. He's going to follow this up, okay? He's like, your intention. If your intention is to build something that looks a lot like X, a lot like it flies, a lot like your other plane, then you're making a mod or you're making that kind of same plane. And you can argue that until you're blue in the face because, like, nobody knows your intention but you. Okay? Now, we obviously, for our own sets and purposes, we do. It's like, okay, well, I know that I built it. And I know I didn't intend to make it like the other one, but it came out that way. So the beauty of paper aircraft is like, okay, all around the globe, people build them. And you may or may not build a plane that is like somebody else's plane, obviously. You never intended to do that, you know? The trick of that point is that you may end up with a plane that looks like something, and they're going to get after you and say, like, what the hell do you build my plane for? And then you're like, well, no, I didn't go about it that way. Then they take it apart, and you see, like, oh, it's not the same plane. It just turns out looking like that. But again, those of us around our dynamic and IVPAC and like, obviously the others out here, like, obviously we build certain planes that look a lot alike. If we fold, I mean, these right here, not a fold, so these could be quite unique, but the planes we fold can look about the same. And obviously, okay, looking down, top down, you can see the difference is here between the coyote and the new bird, which doesn't have a name yet because it's brand new. It's, going on its first week of existence, built September 5th. So a lot of stuff similar. And I said, no, Mark like to argue. Did he say like, well, did you intend on making a plane the same? Well, in my case, no. You could argue I might have, because what I did was I had started out with a bird or with a sheet of paper the same. And see, that's part of it. I think that's part of it too. I'd like to think that that's part of it. Okay. I'd like to say that like your construction of the bird is the same if you're using the same sheet. Okay. Well, it's going to start with that. So if you use the same sheet, yeah, you could end up that way. If you start doing the same folds, you could definitely end up that way. My intention with this one was not build one of these. And in some ways you can see that it actually shows up pretty good, because you guys see a pretty good representation of right there. It's lined up the wingtip. Oops. Yeah, you can see it. That's not, wow, that's weird. Okay, but that's the wingtip there. But they're on the center line. So you see that down the center line. Looks kind of weird for you guys, but it's like right there. So, and they're following it. It's following itself there. And obviously the plane isn't as wide as the other bird. You can't even tell if it's as long as the other bird, but it's definitely not as wide. However, you also notice it's got tips clipped, which I haven't done with coyote yet, or goblin, and I've thought about it. Now, obviously, I showed pictures of this to NASA's and KIA, and they did what I expected them to do, like, oh, it's a goblin. They didn't mention coyote, but it was a coyote that they could have mentioned. And, like, no, not a coyote either, but damn near. Now, let's look at the similarities, and let's look at my intentions here. So, the only thing that I started off with was the same size sheet that this is. And these are perfectly square sheets. They're like 8 by 8. 8 inches by 8 inches. Bear with me. Yeah, to centimeters. 20 centimeters, okay? These are 8.5, so blah, 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 blah. Let's go with... Stop it! I hate fucking things, man. Do what I'm doing. 21.5 centimeters. Okay, so it's an 8.5 inch by 8.5 inch, which is 21.5 inch at 21.5 centimeter by 21.5 centimeter sheet of paper. Basically, it's like folding your A4 off the triangle and cutting it so it's a perfectly square sheet. Unless you've got a perfectly square sheet. Point is, you're starting with a perfectly square sheet. I need to keep this damn converter handy at all times. Anyway, so I started out with the same sheet. I kind of figured I was going to get the same results. I started out basically by having that fold, the first fold. So I know, like, but then again, goblin, coyote, other than Cirrus and Wasp, well, Cirrus doesn't exactly use the square sheet, but Wasp does. Fury does. Same thing, same plane. Anyway, they do, but different results. So anywho, I had no intention of making a plane like this, but I did know that it was going to turn out looking like this. I can't explain it. It's like after the first 2 or 3 folds, I was like, okay, it's going to look like a coyote. I'm like, and I thought literally like, ooh, Mark's going to love this because I can do a show on this and get him involved in this. And here, okay, anyway, thought process. So, new design. Wanted to see what it was going to turn out look like if I didn't do the folds that I give to coyote. Made that, got that. And lo and behold, you see a plane, obviously not too much different. God damn it, stop that. Anyway, so you see that like the width is a little different there because it goes out to the wingtip to the wingtip. And this one obviously does not go as far out. It wouldn't even go out that far. Oops. It wouldn't even go out that far if I gave it the points. It would probably, it might, I don't know. It's hard to tell for you because your depth perception is modeled because your camera view is up there. But I wanted to show you downspout because A, you haven't seen this in a long time, and B, well, you haven't seen this in a long time. This tech, and yes, I consider it a tech because when you're dealing with paper airplanes, everything is a tech. This tech hasn't gone on coyotes or goblins yet, but it will. I just wanted to start this one out with it first because I wanted a little bit of the similarity with the coyote. Now, obviously, you can see a little bit of fold differences right there off the top because you're dealing with like this fold here straight up Coyote's got a compound fold to the wing pockets and stuff like that. You're going to see the side, and I'll take the binder clip off, which is the only way Coyote lands. But you can see a difference in the fin. Coyote's fin, much larger, but then you look at the bottom folds too, and of course Coyote's got a fuselage that sticks out back. It was a little bit of a stinger. The new bird does not do that. However, you can notice, it's going to be a little bit harder for me to do, but I'll try to do this here for you. Coyote does have, like, okay, this one's a little bit aged, but the curved wings. The new bird also borrows the curved wings. So you see, like, and see that, see how it, I'm trying to do that with this thing. That's why I brought it along. You see that it's like, it's got that curve, but you'll also know the big difference here. There's nothing holding its nose together. And of course, again, like I pointed out there, like you can take a look at the bottom. Now the bottom is going to make it a little bit different because it looks like these wing pocket folds and that little fold there present on Coyote is also present on the new plane. But the stinger, the big thing is the stinger is not there. There's no stinger on this new bird. The folds are different. These were not, it turned out the same way. Came out like that, but the folds are different. I'd like to point that out again to Mark, especially because the folds are different. It isn't, I'm going to get into this a little bit more too. Obviously, there's subtle changes, but there's changes nonetheless between the two aircraft. They're basically about the same dimensions, as you can see. The fins, the vertical fins, obviously, Coyote's bigger, new one's not. Some of them folds that you see, they're similar, but not entirely. But that stinger that Coyote carries, big difference, big difference. This is a substandard Coyote, just one I'd get out. I was doing a quick build, so I built like basically version 1, type 1, as it were. That's what they usually get called. But this new one, so the new one turned out that way. Now here's the kicker. They fly almost identical. At least stage 2 flights, because this one has yet to be outside yet. Coyote's obviously done some outdoor flying, being around in my fleet for a while, but this new one only done some indoor flying, but they fly just like each other inside. Probably to be expected because the designs are so damn close. The only real difference is center of gravity location, weight location, and so on and so forth, because actually there's a little bit more thickness and less thickness here in Coyotes than there is in the new bird. But that's made up basically because this one does it all in folds. Coyote does a staple. You see that? You see that? Yep, there's a staple there. Yep, there's a staple there. So you got a plane that looks similar and acts similar, and yet the aircraft, no intention of having dupe there, nothing. In a way, that kind of sucks. It's not exactly what I was expecting. In a way, I suppose I was kind of expecting it. I shouldn't come right out and say it that way, because looking back on it and constructing the aircraft, I was like, okay, yeah, there's a good possibility that this plane was going to turn out similar. As soon as like I built it and did that, I was like, man, I'm going to have a dupe. And I was also thinking, like, well, how much different can it possibly be? Right? Seriously. You saw it, and if you guys would have seen it fly before you even saw it fly, and you looked at it, you'd be like, yep, that plane, yeah, same plane. Now, I'm getting into this what I wanted to get into this for was, Mark, dude, seriously, I get what you're saying with the intention. I get what you're saying if the folds and the looks are the same, but in paper aircraft, I think it goes a step farther, because we don't have a manufacturing process. Yes, of course, like Pride Fly proves, if you go through the same steps, if you go through, your first fold, your triangles, your double triangles, whatever next, the first 3 to 4 folds, you're going to establish what you're going to make. It's usually after the fact, because there really probably isn't. I mean, there's probably not so much without using, even if you use origami, but not really, because origami planes can turn out real looking. I digress. The point of the fact is, like, if you do use your standard folds to get an aircraft shape out of a standard sheet of paper without delving into origami, there's like what, maybe a standard dozen that you're going to come out with. Like, really? I mean, seriously, I don't know how many books have been made. I don't know how many times you can go on the internet and look at the planes that you've seen out there, but all of them, like, if you're going to have one that's like Vampire, a snub, if you're going to have one like this, a little bit of a kite, or if you're going to have, this is a phase 6, but I mean, like, if you're going to have that double compound so you get a little streak, imagine this on a bigger scale. I mean, the whole point is you're going to have a plane that looks basically like all of these to a degree, a Delta Diamond, as we like to call them. Okay, so you're just expanding on one of those aircraft. Now, the reason why we get into this debate a lot, me and Mark especially, is because, like, I do understand what he's saying, and I can agree with him to a certain extent. Especially, I mean, if your intention was to do it, if you go about doing it differently, maybe. But the key here is, like, a lot of people are going to develop aircraft that look the same in the end. The point is, some of them aren't going to fly the same, and some of them aren't going to get there the same way, because we're not dealing with prefab manufacturing processes with blueprints with robots or humans that just mass produce, 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, 100, 500 aircraft, or like cars. Like, you get a factory line, you just make them. Obviously, if you're going to make an Apex, a Nightwing, a Python, name anybody's aircraft, including y'all's. If you're going to make like one and then you decide to make, I'm going to make 100, you're going to sit down there and you're going to mass produce them, because you're going to make every fold the exact same way. You may tape them, you may staple them a little different. And like, looking at how OAE does it, I mean, what did I say I was going to call him? I don't know. We got to figure out a name for him. Mr. Secretive. Come on, dude. Anyway, get your video. We're excited. Just like, the end result is these aircraft could be different because you got there differently. Or, like, I don't want to go as far as to say, because I've had it myself. I've got, like, 700 phases, and even amongst them, there's like 500 phase 3s, okay? But almost no two have ever flown the same. It's still the same plane. I intended to and did every fold basically the same, with a little bit of tech thrown in. Now, when I use the tech, I just choose to say it's a subvariant of the phase that it happens to be. Now, if you've noticed, like, through OAE's got like 500 different planes, but he only builds like 1 to 5 to a dozen of each one of them, because his little version is you put the tech on it, changes the plane. I can see both ways. And he doesn't really acknowledge, like, he does, like, Vulcan, his Vulcan family. He does like I do with the phases. You do put a little bit of tech on it, you change a little bit of fold on it, and it becomes a turbo ultra meta Vulcan. I'm not teasing, I'm just saying. He just throws a little bit of elaboration on a name. And, like, his IVPAC designation can be a little bit different than, like, his personal designation, because we do have IVPAC designators as well. So, like, he acknowledges them, and if you ever get a chance to see the aircraft sheet, which I can actually pop up here, but I'm not going to do that because that's not what the show's about. But, like, you'll see that it's like the Vulcan Mark 27, the Vulcan Mark 30, the Vulcan Mark 6. So, like, inherently, the Vulcan family created this aircraft. It's just something different that he did to make it. Okay, his intention was to make a Vulcan. His intention was to add a tech to it, and it changed his layout, and he named it a Turbo Meta Vulcan because it's something different. I, like, said, that's a phase 3. I just put a tech on it, so it's a phase 3/E. See what I'm saying? I intended on doing it. I just gave it a different tech. So, it's not a different plane. However, my big thing is also, like, I point out to him, the reason why I have phases 1 through 9 through 14 is because once a while the tech gets so extreme that it's not a simple bolt-on, not a simple, like adding tape, like adding stall-proofing tape or glue or whatever. Like, in paper airplanes, every little thing is a tech. Obviously, like, when you're dealing with real aircraft, you add, like, avionics or something to it, or it has a night vision scope, and all of a sudden it's a new tech, but it doesn't necessarily mean you get to give it a new letter. It doesn't change the plane. It's a B-52, it's a B-52. It doesn't take but 50 years before the Air Force has to succumb to people pressure, decide to change the letter, even though it doesn't really change the letter. Yes, I'm going to forever be pissed off about that. You don't take a 95-year-old aircraft and then like, well, it's going to be called the I now. Every other B-52 up to this point got a new letter after B-52 A through H was a new letter because it was a new aircraft from the ground up. But this one, because we live in today's day and age and the military just doesn't give a rat's ass anymore about anything, there's no rhyme or reason to it. They just like, fucking throw the number in there, who cares? Fucking throw the name in there, who cares? Used to be if you knew, I've said this before and I'll say it again, used to be if you heard a city in the U.S. or a U.S. state, you knew like, well, a city in the U.S. must be an attack sub. Oh, it's a state in the U.S. Must be a boomer. Where was the president? Oh, it must be an aircraft carrier. No, none of that shit matters. They just throw names out there. Oh, the next aircraft that comes out is going to be this blah, blah, because it's the next in line. You know, like the next... The B-21? Dude, it should be the B-3. We haven't built 18 bombers since the B-2. But again, it shouldn't be the F-35. I don't know how many times you're going to see me say this, but should be the F-27. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't remember how many accepted experimentals were in there, but it wasn't too many. But either way, my point is like they're just knuckling under to like, it just, who gives a crap what it's named anymore? I don't care. Battles, Civil War battles, and it's a frigate or a cruiser. You know. Anyway, blah. So mine were subvariants. But my point was like, if a phase 1 to become a phase 2, to become a phase 3, to become a phase 4, it was a modification that they couldn't easily come back from. Like this year, we use the one that I showed Abby, that Abby knows so well. Phase 3 here. This is still a phase 3. It just has reverse folds. That is a tech, but the folds are just flipped. I don't like these. They don't fly as good as when I put the wing pocket on top because the stress doesn't apply too well. Others obviously get them to work well. I'm looking at you, Kay, and so is Abby, because he knows your plane did well like this. Exile did great like this. Mine don't. I don't know why. Power I use on. Doesn't matter. I don't care. But like some people might say that like, oh, this is a new plane because you reverse the folds. I don't consider it that. Every other fold is the same except the last ones, which flipped it. I don't see how that's any different. Some people will. That's on them. I don't hold it against you. I don't expect you to hold it against me. It's my choice. But, I mean, that does, I mean, yeah, obviously in a way that could say you're stifling your creativity, but I've created a lot of tech and put it on a lot of these birds, so I don't really care. I'm not missing out on anything. Anyway, still digressing here. My point on this is, like, this is phase 3, okay? It's pretty basic. Just reverse fold it. This is phase 6. Now, the phase 6 is a phase 6 because what happens is body change occurs to it that it can't easily recover from. Like you can see, let me park it in a different way. Tip of the nose, right there. That way you can see. Like see how you can't see the freaking. Can I fix that? Let's see if I can fix that so you guys can see that a little bit better. I just shrunk up the camera view a little bit. Okay, there you go. Phase 6 is longer than phase 3, and this is pretty much standard. This is a little bit different in the tailplane. This is a phase 6-A, whereas dash B looks a little different and the dash C looks a little bit different. And all their differences come in the tailplane. Any of the tech that they borrow from 3 that gets on there, like stall proofing and what have you, I haven't really figured out how they do that. Some are subvariants, some aren't. But the point is their difference come in that. But again, you'll notice that the length is different. And the length is different because phase 6s start out the same kind, going back to their roots, how a phase 1 used to start out, whereas a phase 3 borrows stuff from the phase 2, 4, 5, so on and so forth. Well, 5 is still more now. Anyway, a 3 can't be a 6 and vice versa. Their folds, that's the whole point I'm trying to make. There's no way, there's such a big difference in what that aircraft became that it can't easily change to another phase. Can't become a phase 1, can't become a phase 6, can't become a phase 4. A lot of times when you're adding tech or taking off tech, like they all take tapes, so really that kind of doesn't matter here to mine. Reversing the wing pockets like these are, like this being on the bottom, that being on the top, that can be changed. That doesn't alter anything. But the point of the fact that this plane, yes, this tip is a little cut, but even if that tip was there, it still wouldn't be as long. Be damn close though, wouldn't it? I'm looking at that because actually the folds are what making it longer. The back end of it comes to right here. The back end of it comes to right here. So if the tip was cut back onto this plane might be as long as that one. In truth, it probably would be because their keels are the same. I mean, you're taking the same sheet of paper, and I don't really cut anything off of it except this one's tip. So, yeah, okay, the length is the same. But you can tell, obviously, how much different. Even though there's like, yeah, that nose and yeah, that sweep, that's virtually identical, you can see the family resemblance. And family resemblance is kind of key. But I bring you back to Newbird versus Coyote. There's a family resemblance, but that wasn't the intention. And yes, I'm agreeing with Mark on this, of course, because that wasn't the intention. However, if I built this one and said I intend to make one that looks and flies like Coyote, and it just so happens that it does, everybody be like, that's a Coyote. It's got some tech on it. See where I mean? There's such a big gray area. And the gray area exists because we build paper aircraft. We're not in a factory with robots and other people riveting and welding and gluing and stapling and all the crap that it comes into building a plane with panels, that carries a person, that flies through the air, that's heavier than air. These are heavier than air, but they're just folds. And there's a certain limit to what the folds can do and what you're going to end up with. And these, I never intended to do this. I knew it would look like that. I knew it would kind of come out like that. I didn't expect it was going to fly similarly. Looking at them, and even without this one present, because they never met each other until tonight. I know it sounds kind of cagey because meet? They don't meet. Anyway, but they never saw each other. Now looking at both of them at the same time, I can see a family resemblance, and knowing that I know that they both fly similar, I definitely know that okay, Coyote-2, but no, I don't think, I am not going to consider this a Coyote because all the folds are different. You will learn how to build Coyote. I'm not going to teach you how to build this one until it actually becomes my aircraft. But when you do learn, you will see that the only thing is the end result, kind of similar. The fins are smaller. The stinger's not present. So folds are different. There's no stinger in this thing at all because folding from step one to last step was different. Okay, maybe the first step was the same, but that was it. And again, no intention. But that's what I'm saying. There's only so much we can do. Anybody folding a plane, unless you're in origami, and definitely with origami, because there's so many different folds, you can alter the plane to each one is almost as dissimilar as a fingerprint. But these, no, I had no intention. I don't care if it looks like it and flies like it. This is not a Coyote. Saying Coyote 2.0, Type 3, doesn't matter. It's not. So, again, I'm not trying to make this sound like I'm arguing his point. I'm just saying there's many ways you can look at this point. And I don't want anybody to think one of us is right and one of us is wrong. It just depends on how you look at it. There's many ways. God, I almost lost that. There's many ways you can interpret these, and even members of IVPAC, obviously, Mark and me, but then OAE like to point out too, we have our different ways of doing exactly what it is we do. By the way, OAE, I'm looking forward to those bases. You want to contact me and tell me if you got different bases? Come on, man. I'm ready. Are you ready? I'm anxious. I like having new bases. Seriously, it's kind of cool for me and anybody else. These are two different planes. Fly the same, look the same. As far as that's where all similarities end. How to get from your first step to your last step was totally different. And yeah, I'm probably going to clip the tips of the amount. Catch me out there. It's a Coyote. Man, I still myself got used to calling it Coyote. So I just like the name. Tiamat is a little bit unusual, but damn, like Coyote. Anyway, this after I just told you I don't like naming planes after ground-based still items. It's stuff that can't fly because it just doesn't sound right, but I'll go with that. Anywho. So my point is, different aircraft. This thing's brand new. She needs to get outside and test fly, and we'll see what I've got. She's pretty cool. She's like this. Her Haven't gotten Pacer yet. And I will discuss that in Tech Talk. I'm not going to do that tonight. It's easily accomplished, but we're not going to do that tonight. Okay, so yeah. You get what I'm saying? Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like you're on your own. How you want to discern your aircraft when you make a new one versus when you make something new versus when you make something modified. I just know like this is a prime example of how close you can come and still say like, you know what? It's a different plane. Can I get it squaw? Trying to get a squaw. Can't really get a squaw, but I'm going to get as squaw as I can. Squaw! Come on, come on. Come on, little fuzzbutt. Oh, Jesus, that's about as uncooperative as a sack of crap. Anyway, you get an idea. So, yeah, they're kind of squaw. So, anyway, new aircraft. And as Kay, when we texted about the new plane, he saw the picture and like, replacement? I had said I was trying to, upgrade the age of my fleet, but I mean, I can, but it wouldn't be a Coyote replacement, even though it looks like a Coyote. It would probably replace any of the ones that I've got that are getting long in the tooth. And again, their flight plan is similar, so it's a short to medium range aircraft. So it's like short to medium range, that's just basically attack. That's not close air support. That is like you're next in line, battlefield air interdiction. That's more like what I see when I consider that battlefield air interdiction. So, but that's what Diamant Coyote does. So, trainer could use that trainer. Might do that trainer. Need that trainer. So, trainer's a good possibility. Who cares if they fly the same? That actually makes it perfect for a trainer. I could relegate Coyote to training and put that one in there. I could relegate Coyote to the reserves because they're so similar and make the new one do that. Will I do that? Probably not. But it's just a thought. So anywho, there's that. And but like I wanted to get this out, did that, talked about it really good. And like then the question I had that Robert was ready for, like, and I wanted to give it to him here. I was like, I got to talk to you about your plane, Robert. The cool thing that Vampire can do. Stand on its nose. Anyway, Robert, your planes. We're going to go after this show and watch another one of your construction videos. But I wanted to talk to you about this because I was genuinely curious. When you build these and you build the inside, do you stuff them? Do you always stuff them? Do you sometimes stuff them? Do you never stuff them? Is it just a series of folds? Is it something to just make them poofy? What do you do in here all the time, some of the time, or none of the time? Is it just inconsistent? Because, I mean, I've seen some of your how to builds, and I know what it is you do, but you got, like, a few. You don't have all of them, so I don't know. What I'm just kind of curious is, like, do you do that same thing to most, all, none? What? Like, is this one different than another one? Same kind of thing. You build a flying wing, the triangle, but like you did something different inside. It's almost kind of like what we were just talking about, because you're kind of like when you do this, you're manufacturing, it's going to be a triangle when it comes out. Basically, whatever you're doing different is inside there, but you're building the same plane. This can be like real life aircraft where if you're doing that sort of thing, but you're coming out the same, you meant for it to come out the same. You just didn't know how the inside was going to be different. So it's the same aircraft. See how that shit changes? That's what I mean. Like, you can build 20 of these. The internals could all be different, but it's going to come out the same here. Maybe it'll have these folds. Maybe it'll have these flaps. But we're talking, and like a subdued beaver tail here. You can call it the same plane because basically it is. But I mean, like this, when you look at it, you're talking the same kind of thing. Looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, but it wasn't built like that duck over there. It therefore is Duck 2.0, or it was Goose. So, same kind of principle, different kind of philosophy. Yeah, I just wanted to know how you did this because I'm prepping, phase 11s, and I'm thinking both ways here. So they're going to be, yeah, they'll be whatever. Um, and other planes coming online. But basically, that's what I was trying to ask about was, like, how are they going to turn out? Vampires are cool. You guys probably don't understand why, like, I enjoy vampires. You saw a video, I'm going to probably take a video of you guys because you don't see too many videos at all of vampires. Just like you don't see too many videos or pictures of Javelin because boring plane. These are kind of cool. Actually, these are really cool, but flight is usually short and extremely unpredictable, kind of like goblins. So it's rare to get the pictures that you got, but you got some pretty good pictures. Vampires got some pretty good shots. I can show you a good shot. Yeah, derp, de derp de doo, de derp de derp de doo. Yeah, here, wait, I can show you a pretty good pic. So I do have vampire shots. So proving that the aircraft can fly, proving that the aircraft has pretty good God. Good God. Well, I don't want to, I'm not wasting y'all's time. But, like, that's fuzzy, too. I don't understand how, what the hell are you doing? There's a famous shot of a vampire. Yeah, that one. Those are good shots. Vampire can fly quite well. But it is a striker, so there's a lot of pictures like this where it's close, and it's in motion. Typically that's what you get because Vampire's not... Every once in a while I'll do something like that and it'll be kind of cool. The flights exist. It's pretty... Like, it does get out there. For a stunt plane, for a short range stunter, which, I mean, like, it's not my dive bomber. Or, I mean, it's not that. It is my dive bomber. Didn't used to be, but it could be close support. It's just, like, usually I just use it as a dive bomber because I needed one, don't have one, like it to be that way. And yeah, actually, she's got quite a few good shots. Yeah. Point is, though, like, again, you just don't see too many of them. I don't bring them up too often because you have to get, it just kind of has to be ready. But obviously it's too far away, as you can tell in some of these shots. Like, obviously that close-up one when it's coming in, which is a great shot. But, like, that one, yeah, no, that wasn't a long range. But something like this is, like, obviously high and pretty good distance away already. Not Fade's distance, not Javelin distance, not Wyvern distance, but a distance. That's almost like patrol aircraft style. We can talk about blue in the face about rolls, but like I chose to not make it that way because it stunts too much. And when you see it fly, I'll get you some videos and you can tell why I did what I did with it. Because it does not do its thing on a regular enough basis that it warrants, it's definitely more of a bomber slash, well, no, I'm sorry, it's definitely more of a bomber. It's not anything else because the damn plane goes too far. I love this shot because it's got so many, you can tell there's so many flight enhancements on the bird that it comes out that way. And it'll stay in the fleet because its bihedrals, as I like to call them, offer it a certain amount of, I don't know, but like it's authority with fins. So I claim it has fins. It has fins. What are you going to do? Yeah, see, that's what I mean. You can usually get up close and personal with it, but it's not a long duration plane, so getting a video of it, we'll try to get a video of it. They're really cool. Gonna have to be a short. Yeah. They're gonna have to be short. Anyway, so yeah. That's how you do, bros. That's how you do. Hey guys. So you understand what I'm talking about when I said like familiarity, planes are similar to each other and so on and so forth, and construction determines familial generations and relativity. Mark gets back on, we'll be talking about it again just to make sure that we understand each other. But I'm pretty sure we understand each other, but a lot of people like to hear us talk about that and the roles and certain things, and that's why we keep popping them up. So anyway, wanted to get that out there. Wanted to get a show done. Y'all needed a show. I got you a show. Hopefully, you people get back to me, and we can talk about this. Hopefully, we'll get the others on the show and we can really talk about this. But in the meantime, guys, thanks for watching, and take some videos. But most of all,